Good afternoon. I am JaynaKPalmer, international speaker, author, and coach. Do you want to live or die? Not someday, not years from now, but right now, with the way you think, the way you move, the way you speak to yourself. Because whether we realize it or not, we are answering that question every single day based upon the voice that we listen to. And the truth is, the voice you listen to will lead you towards life or slowly towards destruction. So let me ask you, whose voice are you listening to? There is a gap between destruction and the life we dream about. Most people think that gap was created by trauma, by pain, by what happened to them, but it's not. That gap is created by the voice we choose to believe after it happens. Because the voice you listen to builds your beliefs, and your beliefs build your life. I didn't just experience trauma, I built an identity from it. At 9 years old, I experienced sexual trauma. At 12, it happened again. I spoke up, and a voice outside of me, outside of my family, said I wasn't really assaulted. It wasn't said privately or quietly, it was said out loud in a crowd, in front of people, peers, family, the adults, the people who should have protected me. In that moment, my voice got smaller and every other voice got louder. Because where I come from, what happens in the house stays in this house. Big girls don't cry. I learned very quickly whose voices mattered, and that mine was the voice that needed to stay silent. I started drinking to escape the truth I didn't want to face. I fought with my parents. I ran the streets. I became angry, defensive, broken. The trauma, it didn't stop there. 14, 15, 16. At 16 years old, I tried to take my own life. Because by then, the voices I had listened to for years had already built a belief system. I was unloved, unwanted, worthless. Once that lie became a belief, then it starts shaping every decision you make. For a long time, I believed love was supposed to hurt. I thought love was fighting, yelling, control, toxicity, complete chaos. That's what the voice defined love for me. I accepted unhealthy relationships. I normalized dysfunction. I stayed connected to people and environments that kept reinforcing those same destructive voices. Eventually, I became the very thing I was trying to escape. I was living inside what I now call the gap of destruction. GAP. G. Genie. Waiting for something outside of me to magically save me. Waiting for life to change without having to change myself. Listening to the voice that said, one day things will get better. You don't have to do anything different. A. Avoidance. I avoided the truth, avoided healing, avoided responsibility, avoided the voice that was deep inside that just knew something wasn't right. Because the truth is uncomfortable before it becomes freeing. P, pride. I was too guarded to be honest, too hurt to ask for help. The voices around me taught me to handle it yourself. Stay quiet. Do not let them see you break. And as long as I listened to those voices, my life reflected them. There was a turning point on February 1st, 2021. I woke up fully alert in my mind, fully aware, but I couldn't move. I tried to jump up, but my arms, nothing. My legs, nothing. I went to scream for help and nothing. In that moment, every other voice that I had been listening to was silent. But one voice spoke clearly. Do you want to live or die? This time, I couldn't avoid the question. I couldn't run from it. I couldn't numb it away. And I couldn't silence that scream. I had to choose. And in that moment, I realized something. Living is not passive, it is intentional. Because if I didn't choose life, I was going to lose it right there. So that day, I chose to live. Choosing to live meant choosing a different voice, stepping into a different gap, the dream gap. G, God, higher power, inner truth. The voice that said, you're still loved. You are still meant to be here. Your story is not over yet. The voice rooted in truth and not trauma. A, authority. I had the authority to discern which voice to be able to listen to. I didn't have to accept all the other voices around me. And P, peace. Peace didn't mean that everything around me or everyone around me changed. Peace meant that I changed, that I made the decisions to choose differently, who to listen to, who not to listen to, who to align my truth with. It meant walking away from those destructive voices, keeping me stuck, rebuilding around people who spoke life, growth, healing, and truth. I cannot become who I'm meant to be while staying attached to those voices, committed to who I used to be. Eventually, I had to relearn love, not through trauma, not through dysfunction, and not through survival, but through truth. I had to change learning the truth changed what I accepted, what I tolerated, and what I believed I deserved. Because healing changes your standards. So, how do we close the gap? We tap in. TAP. T, truth. Stop running from what is real. Stop listening to the lies because they're familiar. Finally, face the truth. Awareness. Become aware of the voices that are shaping your life. The voices feeding the shame, the excuses, and the fear. Ask yourself, where are these voices leading me? And P, pivot. Choose differently. Stop agreeing with destruction. Stop partnering with the lies and begin moving towards life, healing, purpose, and peace. So I'll ask you again, whose voice are you listening to? The voice shaped by pain, fear, survival, or the voice calling you higher? Because every belief you repeat, every relationship you accept, every decision you make is answering that question. Today, maybe you realize the voice you've been listening to is the very thing keeping you stuck. You don't have to stay there. That is why I created She Breaks Through, to help women break cycles, find their voice, and finally step into the life they were created for. If this message spoke to you, connect with me, work with me, walk this journey with me, because you don't have to do it alone. Start choosing a different voice. Because if you don't like the truth, change.